So Gary Carter said to me earlier, hey, let's talk about, I want to get this MVP conversation going, NBA MVPs. He said, why don't you guys all put your ballots out or your top 5, and then we can discuss this. And I said, okay, fine, because I want to tell you right up front, I have an agenda. When it comes to MVP conversations. It has been, I've developed it the last 5 years. And so, I'm surprised. Whoa. I'm shocked. Both of you have Jayson Tatum, number 1. Natalie, the data does not support Jayson Tatum.
Absolutely does.
As the MVP. It does
Absolutely
not.
Does.
Which data? Does not. Does not.
It does.
Anyway, so Natalie's got Tatum, Jokic, Embiid, who I'll never put on my MVP ballot. I just won't. Giannis, Luka, 5th. I got Dame, y'all. No Curry. No, I've got Curry. I'm the only one who's got Steph on there.
I'm going to address that because Gary limited us to top 5. And what I told him...
He should be 4 or 5 for one of y'all. He should be 4 or 5. The Golden State Warriors with their 500 selves, 500 winning percentage, wouldn't even be there without Steph.
Here's the thing.
Are you kidding me?
First of all, if Kevin Durant hadn't gotten hurt, he would be 2nd on my list. So I want to make that clear.
Sure.
He'd be number 2.
Yeah, he should be in there.
And my caveat to this list really is that I think both Katie and Steph have the ability to reemerge in the conversation for the second half of the season. So Tatum right now is my front runner, and there's no one ahead of him for me. So kind of everyone else doesn't matter, but those are my thoughts on the race.
Vinny, why do you? I mean, not to speak for Natalie. I want Natalie to give her explanation, but we'll start with you, and then Natalie can give hers. Why do you both have Tatum over Jokic?
Because Gary literally bullied me into making a ballot, pretty much, because I wasn't ready to make a ballot at all. So that's why Gary Carter, our producer, I was not ready to make a ballot at all.
This is Gary Carter's fault.
Here is my dilemma. Last year, I didn't vote for Jokic for MVP because I didn't think his team was a team of consequence, right? And this year, his team is at the top of the Western Conference. He's having an excellent year. He's at number 1 in win shares, which is the greatest indicator of MVP. Even if you don't even know how to calculate it, he's number 1 in win shares. The thing that kind of sticks out to me, and it won't be a deciding vote, but it does stick out in a way, is winning 3 straight MVPs because only Larry Bird, because only Wilt Chamberlain did that. Now, it's not his fault because I didn't vote for him last year. I would have zero problem giving him my vote this season if it were that clear. I don't know if it's necessarily that clear right now. I do think that Tatum, because of how he fares defensively, because he can guard a number of different positions, because he cannot take possessions off on that end of the floor, and because, honestly, the Celtics are the best team in basketball consistently, despite all the things that they've gone through, he gets a little bit of a nod over the statistical edge of a Nikola Jokic.
What do you think, Natalie? Why Tatum over Jokic?
Oh, I agree with everything Vincent said, and I'd also say it's not like, I mean, Jayson Tatum.
Vincent.
Sorry, Vinny. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Vinny. I forget him.
You just keep calling him the government name.
Because I'm formal. I like to call people what they were named. But I'm sorry, you're right, Vinny. Jayson Tatum is having an incredible season too. I understand that everyone's wowed by Jokic, but I'm he's not having a pedestrian season. It's the way people talk about him. The other day on MLK, what did he put up? 51 points, right? Right now, They're playing without their second best player. I think there's a thing with Tatum, and this is something, it's a theory I have. I don't have a way to validate it. But I think I think when people think of the MVP, they also think you have to be one of those players who are in the conversation for best player. And I think because we don't think he's the best player in that conversation, he's probably still a tier below these guys. It's people kind of I don't know, I don't want to give him MVP. But his team has the best record in the NBA. He's been leading the team. He's having a great season. He's averaging 31. He plays both sides of the court. To me, he has a clear-cut case for MVP. And I don't see why it's that complicated. But I really feel strongly, too, about the point that Vinnie made when he talked about the 3 MVPs. Like, I had this conversation off air before with Gary, and he's like, it's a regular season award. I said there have been very few players ever in NBA history to get 3 in a row. And by the way, they also have championships, right?
Right.
To me, I have a problem giving a player a 3rd MVP who hasn't even reached the NBA Finals yet. At some point, there have to be expectations. That's me.
I don't.
Yeah,
I do.
That's tough.
And you know why? Because this goes to my agenda. That's why I put in the feed. I said the appetizer, because I think it's all BS. I'll give anybody an MVP. Go ahead. You want your regular season MVP? You want to brag about it? You want to sit down and talk to your kids and your grandkids and your great grandkids? You want to tell them like what a baller you were back in the day? Fine. I'm not going to dismiss it. It's a good award. It's good.
Good.
But the jewel. I'm sorry, the jewel. That's why I'll give love to Chauncey Billups, who never won an NBA regular season MVP, was his finals MVP. I'll give love to Kawhi Leonard, who was never a regular season MVP, but finals MVP. Cedric Maxwell, never won in the regular season, finals MVP. That's where it is for me. So, fine, okay, I don't care who wins it. I don't argue about it. Jokic has 2. Jokic, you win 4 in a row. It's not where I put my value when I'm looking at NBA players. I don't even care. I really don't even care about regular season MVP. That's me. I've just developed this in the last 4 or 5 years. I want champs. Give me the championships. Give me the finals MVP.
The award has been devalued in the last 4 or 5 years. And in my opinion, there used to be a much more prestige factor with this award. And I feel like that's changed, and I don't like that personally.
Well, one could say the award became devalued in 2016.
How?
One could also say
how?
Because it was not capped off by a championship. Now,
But that's not what made it prestigious.
Wait.
He got to the finals. That's not what made it prestigious.
I love you, Vinnie.
He's the last MVP to get to the finals.
Natalie, I was messing with you. No, the award became devalued.
Russell Westbrook.
I know. The award became devalued when Russell Westbrook won it for a team that went nowhere because we were seduced by the number 10. Now, like I said before, I can be seduced by Kelly Rowland. I can be seduced by a number of women. I ain't going to be seduced by no damn round number 10. And I have an MVP vote. I've had one for the better part of 13 years. It's something I take really, really seriously. And for me, there are a few just general tenets that I have. Your team has to be a team of consequence. You have to be a team that wins 50 games, at least 50 games. You have to be at least in the threat to have your stats, to have your effect be validated in the playoffs. I'm not one of those people that says the regular season doesn't mean anything, because it is a game of attrition. It is 82 games. And if you want people to invest for 82 games, you as a player have to invest and perform for 6 straight months before you get to the grind of the playoffs. So I do think that it means something. And I do think that Jokic shows up night after night. I don't believe that an MVP is like a WWF championship belt, where if you start off with it for 2 straight years, that you have to have someone take it from you also. But I do think I do think that there is a level of historical precedence. Not that you necessarily have to follow and say, well, nobody else won 3 MVPs, so this guy can't do it. It just means that the standard is going to be a little bit higher. Now, had we as a basketball community awarded Giannis Antetokounmpo with the MVP last year, nobody would be saying boo about giving Jokic the MVP now, which speaks to the flaw in the award and the beauty of the award at the same time.
Amen. Now, can I criticize us all three of us? Hey, Gary, put those ballots up again, because I'm going to just make sure I got this right. I'm going to look at 15 names, and some of the names overlap, but, put them up, all 3. And as I look at these 15 on the list, I'll tell you what I don't see. Okay, it's not up there. But
I know what you're going to say. I know what you're going to say.
Okay, go ahead and say it for me. Go ahead and say it. Why don't we have a representative? Because you mentioned them already, Natalie. I don't see Ja on the list. I don't see a Memphis Grizzly represented, and they are right behind Denver. a half game behind Denver in the West. As a matter of fact, Natalie, Ja says he ain't worried about anybody out West. Not worried about Golden State. Not worried about Denver. They worried about Boston.
Can't even beat Golden State on Christmas Day when they miss them players.
They got
I don't wanna hear from him.
They got a higher calling. So, but why haven't we mentioned? Why haven't we put a Grizzly in the MVP conversation?
Me personally, I don't think Ja is actually like he's having an amazing season, but I just don't consider him yet at that. There's some things he needs to do to me with his game a little bit to really cross over to that MVP level tier to me. That's for me. But everyone has like different opinions, so that's for me. And honestly, there's some people who wouldn't be on my list now if players weren't hurt, right? So like this is not like my definitive list. This is my list based on who's available and who's playing right now. Like if Kevin Durant was here, Luka would come off my list. So, and that for some people would be controversial, but
Vinny, I see you making some faces.
I saw Memphis play the other night, and even though it was the ship be sinking Phoenix Suns, right? I saw Memphis play in Memphis, and that ship be sinking, right? But there's something about watching a team grow up. And I feel like because Memphis had that clown car series against Minnesota in the first round last year, and then they had the series against Golden State where, cheat the game or whatever, whatever that stuff was, we tend to think of them as being young and immature, which they very well might have been last year. And when you have Dylan Brooks on the team, that's a whole lot of variance. But teams do grow up in a year. A team can get old in a year. A team can grow up in a year. What if Memphis is ready? That's a broader conversation rather than the MVP.
We'll find out this
postseason. What if Memphis
season
actually is ready? And
we'll find out.
Full grown?
But I'm telling you, they're not even making it to the Western Conference Finals.
Folks.
They're not even making it there.
Ooh. And where's Golden State going to be?
Oh, Golden State's going to the finals.
I knew it. Okay.
They're going to the finals.
And
it's going to be great when they do, because I'm going to go back and laugh at all the hysteria over them this season.
Make sure you clip this, Gary. Clip this and save it.
Clip it. Save it. I like receipts.
Keep it clean.
I like receipts.
Yeah, there it is. So just for the record, Golden State's going where?
To the finals. It's a rematch.
Hey, thank you for watching Brother from Another. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, go ahead and do that now. Don't forget, you can catch us 3 to 4 weekdays on PeacockTV.com and on Sirius XM Channel 85.